So what type of relationship have you developed with Errol, Mr. Nicola?
2 cousins, 1 baby, and a family ripped in 2 by betrayal, guilt, and a decision no one saw coming. This is a paternity dispute seasoned with a slow-motion emotional collapse between best friends, who also happen to be blood. Cordell Nicola wasn't just playing dad. He was dad. This was beyond a casual bond. This was a full-time father, emotionally invested and deeply attached.
I come home from work, he smiles, crawls over to me. I leave, he cries until she comes home. He's just like my little buddy.
And what does that relationship mean to you? Can you tell the court?
It means more than anything, 'cause he's the first one I'm actually gonna get to see grow up.
Looming over the bond Mr. Cordell has with his potential child is the unspoken truth that haunted him every day. If Arrow isn't his, that means he's his cousin's son, and that cousin is standing just a few feet away. This family fracture runs even deeper. Both mothers of the potential fathers are identical twins.
And the thought that this could be your cousin's baby, does that eat away at you?
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm happy because it'll be his first, and I'm happy for Kayla regardless because me and her had our miscarriage.
One of the potential grandmas is convinced her son is the father. The other says her son signed the birth certificate because the mother picked the more responsible one. Hence, that makes her son the biological father. The twins no longer speak, and it's not just the grandmas at war. The baby mama is caught in the middle.
Your mother submitted a statement to the court. She's one of the identical twins. And Ms. McCartney sent this statement: Cordell's the dad. He's been dad since day one, and I've been grandma since day one. I'll continue to be grandma either way.
Miss Calla Wilson claims she was readily available to get a DNA test done to confirm her child's paternity, but due to some reasons, it never happened, and that's why we're here today. Also present in court is a younger sibling of the twin grandmas. You wouldn't believe the strong accusations she makes about Ms. Wilson.
What do you know about this man?
I do know that she tells Nathan all the time, "You're the daddy." Then she'll go back to Cordell and say, "You're the daddy." I just want it done and over with. And if it's Nathan, that's cool. He needs to be a daddy, be in the life. And if it's Cordell, she needs to leave Nathan alone so he can go on.
Nathan Eddy believed he might be Arrow's father, but when the baby was born, he didn't get a phone call, he didn't get an invite, he only got a text. And to make matters worse, he couldn't even get a ride to the hospital. The young man felt like she didn't want him there, like she already made her choice. That moment fractured something in him, something that still hadn't healed.
I was told that she had a doctor's appointment that day, and I told her to keep me updated, and I had no transportation. She went under emergency C-section, and I just got a message that says he's here with pictures.
Did you feel like all of a sudden you were left out?
The way that the baby was born and he moved away and stuff, it made me feel like she just wanted him to be the dad regardless.
Calla Wilson says she chose the man who showed up. As you would expect, Judge Lake's response was as stern as you would expect, and the audience couldn't hold back their reaction. But the question remained: what if the man she left out, the man she says wasn't ready, actually was the baby's real father?
So, Ms. Wilson, did you put Mr. Eddy or Mr. Nicola on Errol's birth certificate?
Yes, put Cordell.
Oh, you put Mr. Nicola on the birth certificate?
Yes.
But how did this secret love triangle between blood relatives begin in the first place? Nathan and Cordell are first cousins, best friends since childhood, and practically brothers. Until one day, Calla, who was dating Nathan, started confiding in Cordell. They became just friends, then best friends. Then one night, it went too far. And from that moment forward, 3 lives were entangled in a secret that could destroy everything.
He's a very good guy. I mean, when it comes to that, we were best friends, and that's kind of how we still are. And that's what I kind of wanted it to always be, and that's what led up to the sex. We were like best friends, and then it led to more than that.
As the court session unfolds, the tension thickens. Mr. Nicola can barely look at his cousin. Mr. Eddy can barely speak without choking up. Even through tears, pain, and public exposure, these 2 young men speak with respect, dignity, and humility. No accusations, no shouting, just heartbreak.
So now, what is your relationship like, Mr. Eddy and Mr. Nicola? I mean, I will give you this. I have seen families come up in this courtroom and act a plumb fool over less drama than this. But you two have not spoken in ill word about the other. You all have both cried when you talk about the baby and one another.
The twist? The entire family's at war. While the cousins maintain their respect, their mothers, identical twins, have completely fallen out. They're both convinced their sons are the rightful father. One baby, 2 cousins, 2 grandmothers, and 1 birth certificate. And no one knows who actually belongs to who.
Mr. Nicola, you can't really even look at your cousin right now?
No, Your Honor.
You can't.
No, Your Honor.
What do you feel? Why can't you look?
Betrayed.
Betrayed.
But we have been trying to get back to where we were just for our family, because
This is a family that imploded from the inside out. The cousins, the twins, and even Kala, the mother. Whatever the DNA result reveals, can their bond ever be as solid as it once was? The young men seem cool with one another, but can we say the same about their mothers? Well, the truth is finally here. Let's hear the DNA test results.
The biological father is Mr. Nicola. Ms. Battle, you are desperate for today's results because the defendant's doubts surrounding the paternity of your son, Timothy, have put your marriage plans on hold. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You hope to prove that Mr. Sidwell is 2-year-old Timothy's father so you can move forward as a family.
When a grocery store flirtation turned into late-night prayers for intimacy and a 2-year-old child, the result was less romantic comedy and more full-blown paternity crisis. And now, one woman's wedding dreams are dangling by a thread, all because her fiancé doesn't believe he's capable of being a father.
But I'm here to get clarification for Stephen so we can move forward in our relationship and get married. He is Timothy's father, and we can move forward after that.
Because right now, this is holding you back.
Yes, ma'am, it's holding us back from our relationship, building it up. We like it to stand still just because of him not knowing that Timothy's his biological child. So I want to get that cleared up for him so we can move forward if that's the case.
Ms. Battle walked into court not just seeking the truth, but desperate to get her life back on track. She's been with Stephen Sidwell for nearly a decade. They laugh together, raise their child together, call each other soulmates. But her dream of becoming Mrs. Sidwell? On hold. Because Stephen doesn't believe little Timothy is his child. Why? He has some medically backed reasons.
I'm here today because I don't think I can have kids in him due to my medical condition. And I feel as though if he's not my kid, then there's no marriage. So I want to get the results to find out, is Timothy really my kid?
This couple's origin story? A rom-com in the making. She was stocking up on ribs and wings for a party. He rolled up with a pickup line straight out of Food Network. They didn't exchange numbers. They didn't go on a date. But fate stepped in. At the health department of all places, Stephen saw her across the room and made his move. But instead of asking for her number, he did something else entirely.
Meats. And man walked up to me and asked me why I got all this meat and no vegetables. I said,
So you met at the grocery store, he saw the meat in your basket and said,
And that was, hey,
this time you didn't leave without the phone number.
no ma'am, I bought her a phone.
From the moment fate led them to each other at the healthcare center, they were inseparable. They began making plans of moving in together as there were no brake pads in their relationship journey. Now, the normal questions will be, did they have sex? If so, were they unprotected?
And the relationship started from there?
We've been talking ever since.
So, Miss Battle, how does this relationship, it seems like you all started off in such an endearing way. How does it turn into a sexual relationship?
Everything was cool until doubt and diabetes showed up. Stephen claims their relationship was off and on. During the time of conception, he says they weren't even speaking. She says otherwise. Ms. Battle remembers the prayers. She remembers the struggle, but she also remembers the nights they made it work.
we was in a full-blown relationship.
And so you were together?
Yes.
You say you weren't seeing anybody else?
No.
Mr. Sidwell wasn't seeing anybody
I
else?
can't say that.
Okay, so Mr. Sidwell, you had bought some more phone.
Stephen wasn't just skeptical. He was sure about his claims. After being diagnosed with diabetes, he believed his reproductive system was out of commission. So when Ms. Battle said she was pregnant, he felt conflicted. After the baby was born, his head shape was a deal breaker for Sidwell. That's right. In a court full of emotional wreckage, a forehead almost derailed a whole future.
Timothy was born. Was Mr. Sidwell there?
Yes, he was there. He was happy father in the hospital. Happy to see his baby and play with him for a minute. I dozed off and woke up and he was gone.
He was gone.
Stephen admits he signed Timothy's birth certificate. Why? His reason is understandable, but not so logical. Judge Lake warns him about the implications of his supportive action. And while Stephen hoped a negative test would get his name off the paperwork, she made some things clear to him. So now, he's in too deep to walk away without answers.
But I tell you this much, y'all.
What'd you say?
I say this much. That's why I'm here today, because if it's proven that he's not my kid, then therefore I know I won't be the father.
Comedy aside, Mr. Stephen doesn't believe he can have kids, so that's why his doubts are so paramount. But if there was even one successful night, could it have created life? Stephen took the stand with more than doubt. He brought gospel-level testimony. The courtroom couldn't help but laugh. Neither could the judge. But underneath the humor, a man genuinely convinced his condition made him infertile.
You know, I don't think I could have kids because of my medical condition. I was diagnosed type 2 diabetes, okay? And it affected my sexual drive. It actually affected my...
So Judge Lake brought in a medical expert. Dr. Jamila Gator took the stand with clarity. Diabetes can impact male fertility, nerve damage, blood flow issues, erectile dysfunction. But does that mean Stephen couldn't father a child? Not exactly. Apparently, it only takes one successful moment, even if it came between blood sugar crashes and desperate prayers.
So when it comes to fertility, especially male fertility, diabetes is a triple threat. Diabetes damages the fine nerves and blood vessels, which can lead to erectile dysfunction.
So in this case, could he have fathered a child?
Ms. Battle says she knows the truth. She's betting everything on one night, one moment, one answered prayer. And Stephen, he's torn between the man he wants to be and the man he fears he might become if this child isn't his. And for her, this moment will either bring a proposal or permanent heartbreak. I think it's time to settle this once and for all. Let's move on to the most important part of this hearing.
Mr. Sidwell, you are the father. Ms. Whalen, you admit you've been in a sexual relationship with Mr. LeBlanc, a married man, and claim he is the father of your 2-year-old son, Vincent Whalen. Mr. LeBlanc, you are determined to prove that you are not the father of Ms. Whalen's son.
2 women, 1 married man, and now possibly 2 children born just 1 year apart to 2 different mothers. This isn't a love triangle, it's a paternity battleground. And the child caught in the middle is just shy of 2 years old. And it started with a pregnancy test. Miss Whalen says she was honest with Mr. LeBlanc the moment she suspected. She took a test, then another, both positive.
Well, it started back when I was pregnant. He was staying in my house. It was one night I was telling him that I might be pregnant because I hadn't started my menstruation, so he went out and got some pregnancy tests.
Now it's time to hear Mr. LeBlanc's side of the story. If she's indeed his mistress, then it's evident that they've had countless sexual relations. So why is he doubtful about paternity if that's the case? Or does he have concrete reasons to deny paternity? Perhaps he's questioning paternity because of his wife. Well, mister, you were man enough to cheat on your wife, so you should be man enough to handle the consequences.
Mr. LeBlanc, when she told you she was pregnant, what were you thinking?
I was in disbelief. I didn't want to believe it.
Were you worried about how you were going to be able to tell your wife?
I was, yes, Your Honor. I was worried, and that was the thing. That's why I didn't want her to be pregnant, because I didn't know how to.
Mrs. LeBlanc was already devastated by the betrayal, but this wasn't the first time her husband had stepped out. Turns out, their 3-year-old son, Jaden, has a half-sibling, conceived under almost identical circumstances. Same mistress, same cheating husband, same heartbreak.
I found out about Vincent through a text message through my husband.
He sent you a text?
A text. No phone call. No phone call. No.
A phone call's not even good enough
I
for
need
that.
to see you face to face. Can I speak with you face to face? None of that. It was through a text message.
While the women sparred in court, Mr. LeBlanc stood quietly in the center, saying little but responsible for everything. The dynamic, chaotic. Mrs. LeBlanc says she's done. Ms. Whalen says she's not surprised, and both women accuse the other of being easy. But Ms. Whalen states one undeniable truth, and as expected, Mrs. LeBlanc fired back with her own truth.
My wife was steady putting me out. I really didn't have nowhere to go.
Well, and then he knew that was easy. It was easy access. He knew it was,
Well, it
you know,
wasn't really
he knew
easy, but
when he went over there, it was whatever.
Why not let
He
him
could do
stay?
what he wanted to do. You know how you see a welcome mat and you can walk over it. He knew he could do that over there.
Here's something you definitely see coming. Some rumors have been swirling around that Ms. Whalen had some relations with her another man. Mr. LeBlanc claims he was even confronted about her by an unknown man. But what has that got to the paternity of the child in question? Is that convincing enough to make the court believe that he isn't the child's father? I don't think so.
There was rumors going around that Miss Whalen had slept with the neighbor. I was confronted at one time by a guy pulled up on me in a pickup truck. He was like, "Oh, you know who I am?" I was like, "Nah, who are you?"
What? Did you get any information that she was sleeping with somebody?
There was rumors going around that she had slept with this guy.
Mrs. LeBlanc said it plainly. She's hit her breaking point if this child is his. For her, it's not about spite, it's about self-preservation. The trust is gone, the pattern is exhausting, and she refuses to be humiliated a third time. But Mr. LeBlanc, he swears he wants to save his marriage. It's harder when you keep making the same mistake.
Do you believe Vincent is your husband's child?
No, Your Honor, I do not.
Why?
Her promiscuity. Promiscuous, very promiscuous. Like I said, the mailman, the milkman. Not only that, you sleeping with a married man, you know.
You ain't
So
gotta
why?
sleep
So
with a married
hold
man
on.
if
So
he
why
come to
not?
me. You ain't
Why
gotta sleep
not?
with a married
Why
man
not?
if he come to you.
Why not?
Hold on.
Promiscuous.
But then came the twist. When asked directly if there could be any other possible father, Ms. Whalen broke. Her admission silenced the room. Even Grandma Sharon was caught off guard. But that's the reality of the case. A man who stepped out twice, a wife on the edge, and a mistress who may not be so sure after all.
Or is there a question? Is there possible?
It might be. I might have had a moment.
Okay.
I mean, I wasn't committed to this man, nor was I married to this man. So yeah, I might have had a moment.
Well, go ahead and
It's
tell
not-
the truth then, because that's why we're here.
It wouldn't be paternity court without a baby insult. And just when things couldn't get more heated, Ms. Whalen's grandmother took the stand and dropped the quote of the day. Grandma Sharon didn't hold back. She's convinced Vincent belongs to Mr. LeBlanc based on his habits and pattern of behavior.
What is it that you have to add? Do you believe Mr. LeBlanc is Vincent's biological father?
Yes, ma'am.
Why is that, ma'am?
Well, for one thing, I know he was living with her at the time. He came to me and a family member and told us why he was staying there.
Ms. Whalen wiped away tears as she admitted something we all knew. She says she's strong. The young woman says she'll raise her children with or without him, and that she doesn't expect him to stay. But deep down, Judge Lake saw the truth. She wants him to stay. In truth, no woman wants to raise her kids all by herself without their father.
I can see the tears in your eyes. Honestly, I know why. You are not in an easy position. Please tell Mr. LeBlanc how this makes you feel.
I mean, it hurts, but then it doesn't, because at the end, I'm gonna take care of my kids regardless. But they didn't ask to be brought here.
Vincent is almost 2 years old, and today's DNA test will determine whether his half-brother is also his half-brother by blood or just by accident. And if the DNA confirms Derek is the father, that's the final nail in the coffin of a failing marriage. This is a family torn, a mistress left standing, and a child waiting to know who he really belongs to. It's time for the DNA test results.
Mr. LeBlanc, you are the father. Mr. Andrews, you and your mother are in court today suing your ex, Ms. Corbett, for paternity fraud because you claim she forged your signature on the birth certificate of her 5-month-old son, Quinn Andrews Jr., who you believe is not your biological son. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
5 months ago, a baby boy named Quinn Jr. was born. He was given a name and was claimed by a man. But now, that man is standing in court, saying he never signed the birth certificate and has serious doubts he's the father at all. And to make things worse, his mother is sitting right next to him, ready to expose everything.
I don't know, Your Honor. I didn't sign anything, and somehow my name still managed to get put on the birth certificate. I have a copy of it right here.
Let me see that birth certificate. So you say somehow your name just appeared on the birth certificate?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
Quinn Andrews Sr., name of father, right underneath. But you didn't sign it.
No, ma'am.
The name is there. but there's no signature, no cursive, no pen stroke, no nothing. Just a typed-out Quinn Andrews Sr. And who's he pointing fingers at? The mother of his alleged child. On the other side of the courtroom, Ms. Corbett isn't backing down. She says the only reason Quinn's denying paternity is because of his mother.
No, it's no way possible for me to just put his name on a birth certificate. The only reason why he's saying that he did not sign the birth certificate is because his mother told him not to sign my child's birth certificate. I mean, anybody that has kids, and she should know because she has enough, knows that in order for the name to be on the birth certificate.
all 8 of them is well taken care of, baby.
Theirs wasn't a love story. According to both sides, the relationship between Quinn and Ms. Corbett was rocky from the start. Mr. Quinn's mother's version, she claims the young woman was promiscuous, and that's when things start to unravel. Both women didn't hold back one bit.
We were in a relationship, but I could never say it was actually a committed one because every time we hit a bumpy road in our relationship or we get into an argument about anything, it could be simple. Quinn is out the door, right back to his mama.
Quinn's reasons for doubt? 4 of them. A condom wrapper he found under the couch, one he says he didn't use. A man running out the back door, allegedly caught red-handed by a neighbor. A text message from another man that read. And finally, the big one. Word on the street that she was being flipped by 3 or 4 guys while he was working out of town. Ms. Corbett denies it all. Quinn actually brought a diagram to court, complete with driveways, fences, and exit routes, to prove someone snuck out of the back door of her apartment.
While we was together, I happened to clean up the house one day where we stayed at. I found the empty Magnum wrapper under the sofa, which she claimed was mine, which it wasn't. All of we used, I throw it away.
It was his.
Tell him about that day that you came home from work and she had another man running out the back door.
Yet, Ms. Corbett defended her position that the child belongs to Quinn, no matter what anyone thinks. She says there was no one else, no other men during the time of conception, no unprotected sex with anyone else. So, could it be that Mr. Quinn and his mother made up those stories to deny the baby? Or is the young woman just a compulsive liar? It won't be long till we find out.
Ms. Corbett, so you are saying that these allegations are not true?
They are
you
not
did
true.
not
The only reason why he is saying that is because he is standing on side of her. And the other time, whenever I talk to Quinn, I don't hear none of this.
You was compulsive, habitual liar. Stop lying.
As the drama escalated, emotions reached a boiling point when Ms. Corbett accused Quinn of threatening to abandon the baby. Mr. Quinn's response was nothing short of absurd. This is the kind of dysfunction that's been surrounding baby Quinn Jr. from the moment he was born. And according to Judge Lake, it's enough to make her deeply concerned.
He was gonna drop my child off at a fire station.
Your Honor, I told her that. I specifically told her that just to get her to move because she lied to me and told me she was threatening me with the police.
When he get tired of my baby, he won't drop him off at a fire station. You just heard him, huh?
This baby has been on Earth for 5 months. This is not funny. We've got to get focused.
But then came yet another twist. Quinn's mother, Ms. Smith, testified that her son wasn't the only man in the picture. She claimed there was another name floating around, another potential father. Whoa! Are you for real, Grandma? If that's the case, now we understand why Mr. Quinn and his mother have so much doubt.
Sleeping with him unprotected, and you were also sleeping with someone else unprotected during that time, then they both potentially could be the biological
son that I was sleeping with unprotected, point blank period.
That you were using protection.
No.
So at that time, it is your firm testimony that you were only having sex.
When questioned about it, Ms. Corbett admitted that yes, she had a relationship with another man, but insists it was before she conceived. Now, how can we be certain that she's telling the truth? Could this be the same guy that allegedly ran out the back door when Mr. Quinn came by the defendant's house the other day?
Who was the other person?
Name somebody
I went to school with.
Oh, I know he was talking about. That was somebody who I was dealing with when me and him was on break. But no, that was way before I even conceived my baby.
How much earlier, before the window of conception, were you having a relationship with this other guy?
He knows that. He know when it happened.
All right.
I told him it happened. And he came right back.
This baby is 5 months old and caught in the middle of a war zone, and it's not okay. Quinn's mother, Ms. Smith, makes it crystal clear that she hopes the child in question isn't her grandchild at the end of the day. But even she admitted that her son will be broken if Quinn Jr. isn't his, because he loves that little boy. That little boy, the one caught between 2 families, lies, and drama, deserves a fresh start. But to get there, we need the truth. It's time for the DNA test results.
Mr. Andrew, you are the father. Ms. Adams, you say you were caught. Defendant doesn't believe he fathered your 13-month-old twins, Kamarion and Kamariana. You testify that you are 100% certain he is and plan to prove it today in court. Is that correct? You state that another man was
13 months ago, a pair of twins were born, Kamarion and Kamariona. But behind their innocent faces lies a web of confusion, betrayal, and one mother who got caught playing a dangerous game between two men. Markeith Spencer walked into the courtroom today demanding answers. He says he was led to believe these twins were his. The young man was there in the beginning and was emotionally invested, until suddenly he wasn't. Apparently someone else might be the dad. That someone? Her ex of 13 years.
Kind of going through my vulnerable stage and things like that. I had went out actually one day, to the bar, and that's when I had met Markeith.
All right, so you were in a long-standing relationship.
Yes.
And then you broke up.
Yes.
And during that time, you were intimate with Mr. Spencer.
Yes.
Did you use protection?
Christian Adams says she was vulnerable, fresh out of a breakup, alone, and one night at a bar, she met Markeith. What followed wasn't a fairy tale. It wasn't even a relationship. It was casual, unprotected, and it got very real, very fast. She got pregnant. At that moment, she says, there was no doubt in her mind. Markeith was the father.
Sexual relationship, you didn't use protection?
Yes, sir.
But
yes,
you
sir.
weren't in a committed relationship?
No, we were.
Was also intimate with anybody else?
No, I didn't.
Miss Adams, were you intimate with anybody else during that time?
No, I was not.
So how soon after you broke up with your ex did you meet Mr. Spencer?
I'll say like about 2.5 months later.
But then, everything changed when photos of the twins surfaced online. That's when her ex's mother saw them and made a bold claim. And that's when the lines between truth and manipulation started to blur. Christian didn't correct her. She didn't deny it. Instead, she let the narrative take shape. Because secretly, there was a rekindling old flame.
Once I had the babies, the pictures went out on the internet, and that's when my ex-mother called me and said that those are my grandbabies. They look just like my son.
And so once she said that, had you been thinking of that in the back of your mind all this time? Never.
Never. My ex had a family and everything about the boy. Kamarion, they were saying he looked like.
While Markeith sat in the dark, wondering what went wrong, her ex, Mitchell, walked right back into the picture. And according to Ms. Adams, the minute Mitchell returned, she shut Markeith out. Only one problem. She wasn't honest about something she told him. The young mother crafted a complete lie, just to close the door on one man and open the door for another.
Probably a couple months after I was away, I've been going, I talked to her, kept in contact with her the whole time, like her pregnancy or whatever we talked, she was, writing me letters and stuff saying like how these was and then communication was changing. Like, they told me like, well, we did a DNA test already.
But now, both men believe the twins could be theirs. Mitchell's mother, Ms. Jernigan, was tagged in baby photos online. Photos of the twins. Photos that reignited old feelings and stronger convictions. Now, this is beyond a love triangle. What would Graham Q. Jernigan do if her alleged twins were her grandchildren after all? It would be a devastating blow.
And once that happened, he said, okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and come back. Once he came back, without a shadow of a doubt, I didn't even want to deal with Mark at all.
All right, so once your ex came back, you were done with Mr. Spencer.
Any way he was able to get in contact with me, like, changed everything, And when he did contact me, or his ex contacted me,
sent me pictures of Christian Page, and I seen.
Eventually, the potential grandma is invited into the courtroom. Apparently, she showed the pictures to her whole family. Everyone agreed. So what did she do? She stepped in, claiming her role as grandmother, visiting the babies, supporting Ms. Adams, and building a bond with these children.
The first week that they was born, Kristen's mom called me. So she said by now, look, take a look at the babies. Look at these pictures. Something ain't right. So she sent me the pictures. So I'm like, I started sending them through the family. And the family's like, oh my God, these Mitchells. When they was 2 weeks old, I went down there. Yes, he saw pictures of me on Facebook.
Everything seemed to be in place until one day, Ms. Jernigan saw Markeith walk out of a friend's house with photos of the babies, claiming he was the father. Markeith couldn't take it anymore. He was been lied to. He was strung along. Then he was erased. And the heartbreak didn't end there, because while Mitchell was being welcomed back into the picture, Markeith was locked out, cut off from the twins, denied the chance to even be a dad. But he didn't give up. He showed up. Now, he wants one thing and one thing only: the truth.
I saw Marquise at one of Christian friend's house.
Yes.
He said, "These are my babies." So he was trying to show me some.
Well, you know, originally I came over there and Mitchell was coming in the door and he wanted to talk to me. So Christian like, "Mitchell want to talk to you." He was like.
In a rare moment of honesty, Christian admitted what everyone suspected. She used the babies as leverage. The twins' mother was playing emotional chess with the hearts of two men and the futures of two children. But is it too late to make it right? Because now, both men have become attached, and so have both families.
You know, so it wasn't like I was being messy about it or anything.
Well, no, but what is clear, though, Ms. Adams, from your testimony is you have allowed at certain times both men to believe.
There's one more twist. The twins, Kamarion and Kamariona, are fraternal. That means they could, in theory, have two different fathers, which would mean both men could be right or both could be wrong. Ms. Adams looks at Markeith and says something she believes to be the truth. Ms. Jernigan, who spent months loving and supporting the twins, now sits in silence, her heart clearly torn. Markeith only cares about the truth. And now, it's finally time.
Is the father of 1-year-old Kamariana Adams Spencer. It has been determined by this court, the biological father pertaining to whether Mr. Williams or Mr. Spencer. You claim the defendant led you to believe you fathered her son, Kamani, for an entire year, but just 6 months ago told you you are not father and refuses to let you see him. You are here to prove that Kamani is your biological son, is that correct?
He signed the birth certificate, cut the umbilical cord, and held the baby before the mother did. For a year, he believed he was the father. And then one day, 6 words ended it all. Now she won't let him see the baby. He's off the lease, out of the house, erased from her life. But there's one thing she can't erase: his name on the birth certificate.
The reason why you haven't seen my son in 6 months is because he is not the father. Letting him sign the birth certificate, and I just feel, I feel bad because I let him do it.
Yes, Your Honor, this is my son right here.
And so you had a relationship with him before.
A young man raised in foster care. No father figure in his own life, but when he found out he was going to be a dad, he made a promise. And for the first 8 months of little Kaimani's life, he was present. He had 2 jobs, attended every doctor's appointment, had sleepless nights, and handled diaper duty. But the woman he trusted, the woman he was living with, was hiding a truth she didn't want to face.
I asked her if it was mine, and she said, "Yeah, you're the father."
She did. And so you asked her point blank, "Is this child mine?" And she said, "Yes, you're the father."
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. DeVos, do you remember that conversation?
Miss DeVost let Mr. Walker sign the birth certificate, claim the baby, and watched him bond, attach, love, and she said nothing. But deep down, she claimed she was scared. The other man lived in another city. Mr. Walker was there. So she made a choice, and because of that choice, here we are today.
When I looked at my son, after I got through my surgery and everything, I thought he seen my son before I did. After I looked at my son, I just knew, like, he been here all this long, but I can't turn back.
Pregnant, or that the baby was born and he could potentially be the...
But the damage was already done. The young mother says she regrets it and didn't mean to hurt him. She claims she just wanted someone by her side. But when the baby came and she saw the truth in his eyes, she still stayed silent. But eventually, the lie got too heavy. So she did what most people do when they're done with a lie. She passed the pain to someone else. And Mr. Walker, he was the one left standing in the aftermath. Apparently, friends and family members had a lot to say.
So you just chose the man that was closest to you and was ready to step up, so you would have someone to go through this process. Mr. Walker, did you have any idea any of this was going on after you saw your baby come into the world? Where?
One day, they got into a fight. He brought up the baby. He said, "You're not thinking about our son." Her reply was as cold as Alaska. She broke the ice just like that. No warning, no DNA test, no respect. That left Mr. Walker devastated. But the worst part? He didn't just lose his relationship. He lost the baby he held in the delivery room, the baby who carried his name, the baby whose birth certificate still says Walker.
It was May.
May, June, around one of those times. Believe we were arguing, and I also have some text messages.
You say you kicked me out with damn near no place to go. You wasn't thinking about our son or anything.
You think Ms. DeVos was cold? Wait till you hear what she said next. She literally told Mr. Walker she didn't ask him to be her baby's father. According to her, he chose that fate for himself. Whoa! How could she be so cold to someone who has always been there for her? Or is there something we're missing here? Well, as you would expect, Judge Lake takes her to school.
He had the option if he wanted to be there or not. I didn't beg or ask him to be there. He had the option.
Now, I'll let you stand here thus far and state your testimony. Now, you sitting up here acting like Satan's sidekick in here talking about you ruined your own life.
The craziest part is this. Ms. DeVos says it's over because Kaimani doesn't know Mr. Walker. Also, she says that her ex, the real father, FaceTimes the baby and plays the role now. Another salt to the injury. But Mr. Walker disagrees. Now, he's forced to watch another man take his place because of a decision she made based on convenience, not truth.
My son, he talks to him over FaceTime, video chat him all the time, every day if he get a chance to. He's that, like, he know who he is, but he's not.
And Kamani is 14 months old now. When he sees your...
Right now, he's still listed as the father, legally, officially, permanently, until a court says otherwise. He says if the DNA test confirms he's not the father, he's not playing second step-dad, but you can see it in his eyes. This wasn't just about a title. It was about the bond. A bond he never had as a child, one he was determined to give. Now, that bond is shattered.
His biological father that's gonna be in his life, I'm not about to play a second role stepdaddy or nothing like that if he's not even my blood. If he's not mine, she moving on with her little family or whatever.
But there's still one final question. Is she telling the truth, or is this another twist in a story built on fear, survival, and silence? Because Mr. Walker still believes there's a chance. He feels that child is his. He remembers the first cries, the late nights, the connection, and for him, that means something. But today, feelings will no longer guide the story. All that matters now is the DNA test result.
Mr. Walker, you are not the father.